It's 4 minutes past 12. You are listening to the Mid Morning Talk on Salam Media with your host, Mari Mukunda. We are talking menopause today. Menopause begins when the menstrual cycle ends. It's not a health problem, and some women experience it as a time of liberation. However, hormonal changes and other factors involved can cause discomfort. And to tell us more, we have Islamic Care Line's Counsellor Khudeija Bhayat on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Khudeija, shukran for joining me.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Afa, this is a pleasure to join you. Alhamdulillah. Okay, we can continue.
Alhamdulillah. Right, so let's begin by you of menopause.
Hello, Afa, I can't hear you.
What is the description of menopause? Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now, Afa. Okay, the description for menopause basically would be, okay, what is menopause? And just to give you a little background on the biological before we come to our normal, what we discuss is mental issue. Menopause is the end of a woman's menstrual cycle. The term can describe any of the changes that you go through just before or after you stop having your period, making it the end of your reproductive years. Because women are born with all of the eggs which are stored in their ovaries. And then the ovaries make these hormones, the estrogen and progesterone, which control your menstruation and the release of your eggs, your ovulation. Menopause then happens when your ovaries no longer release the eggs every month and menstruation stops. Menopause is a regular part of aging when it happens to the age of 40. And some women do go through it early, which could be a result of surgery, for example, after hysterectomy or damage to the ovaries with such chemotherapy or something like that. If it happens before the age of 40 for any reason, then it's called premature menopause. Okay, Afa?
Okay, now what are some of the most common symptoms of menopause that women experience?
Okay, the first signs of menopause, the most common symptoms are biologically, I think, we just to concentrate on is uneven or missed periods. You sometimes suffer from sore breasts or needing to urinate more often, some bladder control maybe, trouble sleeping, emotional changes, which this is what we're going to be discussing mainly on the emotional roller coaster. Just to continue with it's dry skin, eyes and mouth. And also, we may also include fatigue, depression, crankiness, a racing heart, headaches, joint and muscle aches and pains, weight gain, hair loss, and then the change in libido. Okay, so basically, what I'm discussing for today is the emotional roller coaster of menopause, because we are the Islamic Care Line after all. Okay. Declining estrogen levels are associated with menopause and can cause some of these pesky hot flashes. I think most women will tell you about that, the hot flashes and the pesky hot flashes, which I'll maybe give you some tips a little later on. But just to continue with the emotional roller coaster, women can feel like they're in a constant state of PMS, and sometimes, unfortunately, these emotional changes are a normal part of menopause. Some of the emotional change that we experience as women during menopause, while undergoing menopause, can include the irritability, the feelings of sadness, lack of motivation, the anxiety, aggressiveness at times. Someone who was very mild-mannered and mild-tempered suddenly becomes aggressive, and difficulty concentrating, fatigue, mood changes, which also is a big thing, and tension. So if you're feeling irritable and sad and these things here, there's a good chance that it could be related to menopause at that age. But many things can also make you feel downright irritable. For example, lots of other things that are changing at this time when you are at that age. So it's a good time also to talk to your doctor to make sure that there isn't any other physical happening to you. For example, your hormone levels, thyroid problems could also be a cause of it, not just menopause. Okay. So tell your doctor how you're feeling, and also maybe consult with your counselors or your other medical practitioners. Although depression isn't caused by menopause, studies show that about 20% of women have symptoms of depression during this time. So it's more likely, however, it's more likely that if you've had depression before in your life, if you have been prone to symptoms of depression, then you'll notice that it might get worse, or it might you get a relapse at this time of when you're undergoing menopause. So it also then sometimes it helps to speak to a therapist or a counselor. Okay, so to answer our question, is that how can you cope with the emotional changes of menopause? We're feeling the stability and sadness, and sometimes just feeling downright not motivated at all to do anything are the symptoms of menopause often. But they can be managed through a lot of lifestyle changes before we go through looking for antidepressants and such things like that. We rather concentrate on lifestyle changes to begin off with. So we learn how to, for example, if you start feeling emotional and irritable and suddenly you're just having all these feelings of anxiety, you can start learning ways to relax and reduce your stress. There's a lot of things that I can go through in a few steps that I can just offhand say, just to make it easier to handle our fluctuating emotions. One is to exercise and eat healthy. So keep active, take walks around the block, or just exercise, jumping jacks on the floor or something. It doesn't have to be now suddenly joining the gym and things like that. It's just things that you can do in your yard or in your lounge, jumping jacks and squats and something like that. Just to keep healthy, keep your bones and your legs and your hands and everything moving. And then obviously eating healthy is very important. It's very important to keep eating healthy. If you haven't been eating healthy previously in previous decades, it's a good time to start eating healthy now, or continue to eat healthy. Eating healthy and exercising through the good, feel good hormones that will come out, so maybe it can wipe out whatever other feelings that you are feeling. Also, you can find a self-calming skill to practice, maybe like meditation or yoga. And I was just normally, just to continue with the Qur'an and our Salah and our Quran, listening to the Quran, even if it's on the radio or things like that, can be very self-calming. I would really recommend avoiding the tranquilizers for now, unless it is really bad, and obviously avoiding alcohol. Engage also in creative outlets, for example, try and see if you can get a hobby or things like that so that you can foster a sense of achievement. Okay, and stay connected with your family and community, nurture friendships with other women, also communicate with your family, tell them what it is you are going through, explain to them what it is that sometimes you just need a bit of space, or you just need some calmness in the house. You don't need to be constantly in a state of anxiety. Okay, Appa?
All right. And I'm thinking about, you mentioned a lot of the emotional changes here. And does the person who's experiencing this yet, do they know what they are going through? Do they have mood swings? Does their personality changes a bit? How do they maneuver around the changes that they are currently going through? Because I know that we experience changes, hormonal changes, and mood swings when we are on our monthly period, our cycle. So does the same happen with menopause?
It's like sometimes some women explain and say that it's an experience of a constant state of PMS, your premenstrual syndrome. So you in that constant state of irritability or a mood change or mood swings. So there's a lot of things that you can do to protect your mental health when you go through it, and to protect yourself from that. Be aware that these mood changes that accompany other menopausal symptoms. For example, it's not just the mood swings, it can be other things, but be aware that the mood swings are there and what can you do about it. So find out what triggers it, for example. Sometimes a woman will say, it's just basically nothing and I'm just feeling teary. So explain to people around you, how do you maneuver it? You explain to people around you that, I think I'm just going through this, just give me a little bit of space. I'm just here for some reason or the other. Just give me a little bit of space. I'll be okay in a few minutes. So then you're not being judged by others, or you're not being looked down at by others, or other people don't basically look at you as something that you are going through, like you're mad or something like that. And also remember your outlook. So don't think that you are. This is a normal thing that happens. And this can change, because also while we're going through menopause, there's a lot of other changes in our physical health that may also drive them to changes. For example, it could be the anxiety that can be triggered by, for one, biological and overactive thyroid gland, which also is, like I said, it's common, and maybe that needs to be just ruled out by a medical practitioner. Also, anxiety and mood swings and mood disturbances could be triggered by a lack of sleep, which also occurs at this time during menopause. Women find that my sleep is gone. I don't sleep. I don't need as much sleep as I used to before. So it becomes common during menopause. Women say that. And so sometimes you feel like you may not need the sleep, but it is a lack of sleep. So sometimes the mood swings are a result of the lack of sleep. Also, one of the things that causes the lack of sleep, and maybe then the anxiety or the mood swings, is the hot flashes and other sleep disruptions. So when you get the hot flashes at night and you suddenly feel that feelings of suddenly I'm so hot, and then you need to cool down. So there's a lot of things that you can do to see why the mood swings are trying to maneuver around. Okay, now monitor your mood. Make sure and make note of the patterns. Like I said, the sleep and the stress level, and also then see if you can speak to others about it. The lifestyle changes, like I said earlier, also increasing your exercises, also then helps to control your stress and reduce the potential symptoms. And know that it's temporary. It's not, the help is available out there. Huh? Okay.
All right, Sister Khudeija, let us take a quick break and we will continue thereafter. Please stay with us.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Meet the refugee children of Syria and Palestine in South Africa this August.
I see the yellow like a sunflower smile.
Join the Africa Muslims Agency's One Child, One Dream event in your area.
For Allah has given me a cotton candy sky.
Spend time with the kids learning about the Amman School of Excellence in Lebanon.
The blue sky is blue like.
Find us at an event in Durban, Johannesburg, Cape Town, Newcastle, Port Elizabeth and Pietermaritzburg. Visit africamuslimsagency.co.za for more information. Africa Muslims Agency, commemorating 35 years of empowering, educating, inspiring.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists, with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
Give charity without delay, for it stands in the way of calamities. For child-headed households in Bloemendal in the Eastern Cape, the daily diet consists of white bread and a carton of cheap juice or sugar water, known locally as the poppy water diet. Make a difference to that one child or family. The Al-Fida Foundation has over the past 13 years worked on the ground and gathered the largest database in the Eastern Cape region of Muslim Zakah recipients. Phone our offices at 041 484 1288 or visit our website at www.alfida.co.za. The Al-Fida Foundation, your social investment partner in the Eastern Cape.
For a long time, we've lived in a centralized world. where institutions held the all-important data and confirmed all transactions. Those times are over. Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain development company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back in your hands with no middleman so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Welcome back. You're on Salam Media, and today we are talking menopause and the emotional impact that this has on the patient or the person suffering from menopause with Islamic Careline Counsellor Sister Khudeija Bhayat. Sister Khudeija, shukran for staying on the line. Now, menopause can have a significant physical and emotional impact on the person that is affected and their family. So how can the person affected, or rather their families, help them to go through this? I mean, it can be a confusing time for everyone involved. So how can the family offer their support and their assistance?
For the question, families can support their mother or their sister or their wife going through menopause in many ways. For example, understanding where the mood swings come from, and don't take so personally. It's not something personal that a woman is irritated at them. It's just something that she's going through. She just needs maybe another outlet. So don't take it too personally. Do not say that it's directed at them, and also just to help and remind themselves that these things will go, that a woman is going through, it will pass. It also means that, sometimes I think about the truth is that the view of menopause is actually quite an old-fashioned and prejudiced view. Women are not always just irritable and all that, because sometimes the irritability and all that comes through with added, because it is a result of added stresses. For example, it could be the loss of whatever the woman is going through, a loss of maybe her adult children or moving out of the home, so she feels a loss in that, or maybe loss more seriously in that her partner passes away. So it could be grief compounded with the feelings of menopause. So understanding what else also is the person going through helps. It's not just menopause. It could be other things that are in the environment that affects the woman. For like I said, the grief, changes in the environment, for example, loss of parents because elderly parents, or needing to care for aged parents. Now suddenly it becomes, while a person is going through menopause, they realize the mortality, or they realize the parents' mortality, and added to that they think and have maybe the aging parents unhealthy, or needing to see to the health needs of the aging parents. All those kind of stresses add on and makes a woman maybe irritable or fearful or mood swings. So those kind of things family members need to see and help out, that it's not just only her burden to look after the other members of the family. So this time women become grandparents, so then they have the added burden of looking after grandchildren. They may say they love it, but it becomes difficult because your body is not as young as it was when you were a mom at the age of 20, 30 or something like that. Now it's like 50, 51, 55 years old, and now in that age you have to look after young children who are so active. So those kind of things make you extra tired and maybe become moody or things like that. So it's the other people around you that can maneuver and realize that, this is what a person is going through. Let us help her out. But, to say that the menopause, it's like, I think it's an old-fashioned view where it's just only the bad part of menopause. There are a lot of positives. And we can think of it as a new stage and a new beginning. And instead of just focusing on all the negatives of menopause, we can look at the positives of menopause. What you may ask are the positives of menopause? For one thing is saying goodbye to menstruation and PMS. Because some women, have dealt with discomfort during menstruation, so bloating, migraine, cramps, etc. And one other thing, the added costs of the pads and the tampons and etc., the sanitary products. So now You can also say goodbye to all those things because you don't need all those things anymore, and a relief from those kind of things. Also, another positive I would say is you don't have to worry anymore about getting pregnant, especially after you're past the menopausal stage. The dilemma of that unwanted pregnancy can be stressful and even sometimes traumatizing. So this is another anxiety that disappears with menopause. You no longer have to worry about taking the pill. You no more have a side effects or migraines of the pill or things like that. You don't have to stress about the late period or things like that. It's okay. You aren't fertile anymore. You have the freedom then to make decisions about your body. The way you experience sexual changes is also one of the positives because also now you don't have to worry about pregnancy. So sexuality then starts to have different meanings for you. You become more sure of yourself. Also about the sleep. You sleep less and you are more active. Studies have shown that menopause comes with a decrease in sleep. You don't sleep as much as before. You're surprised. You'll be surprised that suddenly you get up earlier than normal. You can do so many more things. You have so many more time, so much more time for so many more activities during the day. So it's something that a woman can embrace and take advantage of this renewed time and renewed energy to do things that interest her, for example. New hobbies, maybe start something that you never had the time to do before now as an older adult. And maybe then your children do have their own life. So it comes to embracing the fact that they have a life. Now I'm sitting with all this extra time and I have the spare time. So make the free time, make the most of the free time. And it's the perfect time to do things that you've always wanted to do, but you never could. It's also a time about for a woman to it marks the end of an important part of a woman's life cycle. And we go through many cycles, so this is the end of an important part of a woman's life cycle. But we don't have to see it as just as an end. We can see it's a significant transformation. It is a time, a great time to reflect. It really is a myth that all women at this stage and at this age become unbearable and difficult. Maybe it's just a little stage that they pass through, but after that you become really much more freer and you really can define yourself. If you think also of personality and your prior experiences, there may be times when you have mood swings, but it's not a definite thing. What determines how it goes for you is how you value what you have lived and how you are going through now. So, just to say, you can set new goals, change your routines, and approach life differently. For many women, it is a wonderful sign because they finally get around to do things that they haven't had time for before. They put it on the back burner, and now it's time. For years they've done that, and now it's time that they can focus on themselves. So, and also, but just to note, the best news about menopause is, we are at this time in history where women are actually living long enough to experience it because our life is so much longer than what it used to be in like centuries ago. So it really is something new that women go through, and it's the first time in history that women are living long enough to experience it. So I don't see anything off already. But just to say, menopause comes with big changes. It is not denied that we do have the depression and anxiety and tension, but it can be manageable. And it's also up to you and only you, who, as a woman, who can give meaning to these changes. The most important thing is that we accept that this is happening, and accept it and see it as a natural stage of life. And as with all changes, it comes with new lessons and opportunities for growth.
And also, it's good to be knowledgeable on this topic, to learn about it beforehand, and to share what you've learned with your family. To say, hey, look, sooner or later, I'm going to be experiencing this year. So if it does happen, when it does happen, then everyone will be prepared for it as well. Sister Khudeija, what are your final thoughts and advice going forward?
My advice is to say that, it is really a sign that you can embrace new things that's happening. And like you said, very importantly, let me just touch on that. It's very important to keep everybody in the loop and say that this is what I might be going through, this is what I'm experiencing. Please bear with me, have patience with me. Inshallah, it will pass. And once it passes, it is really is like I said, with all changes, it comes with a new stage, a new growth, a time for embracing what is in the future. Maybe it's time to wind down, take it easy, have more time for yourself, enjoy yourself, more time for your own friends, more time for other people of your age, instead of just focusing on children around you all the time. It's time to make new friends and then you embrace this new stage of your life.
All right. So shukran so much for your time, Sister Khudeija, and for enlightening us on menopause.
Jazakallah for having me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Islamic Care Line Counsellor Bhayat taking us through menopause, and just some important points that you mentioned there is that there are some negatives, but try to focus on the positives of what you're going through, and this too shall pass. It's a stage that you are going through as a woman, and read up on it, get knowledgeable, and get your family and friends in the loop. Let them know what you are experiencing or what you are going to be experiencing as well. And with all of the extra time on your hands, the insomnia that you might be facing, use that to catch up on some things that you didn't do before you reached the menopause stage. Like catch up on some reading, some exercising, your meditation, the dhikr, the Quran recitation, etc. There's just so much that you can do during this time. And while you go through it, just be strong and get support. The extra support, you can contact Islamic Care Line, and they will gladly assist you with support or a support group or someone to talk to, etc. Alone. It is 12:31. You are listening to the Mid-Morning Talk on Salam Media. We will be right back. Please stay with us.